Welcome. So this is our second recording of the Flyinggothar. I am Havlar, here to host tonight. Our normal second is Randolphler, but he is unable to be here today. So our guest is a priestess of Loki. Lo, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lo. I am pretty much a very brand new priestess, and I am excited to see what tonight holds.
All right, so tonight's topic, we're going to talk about what is paganism in a whole. So not just what we practice a form of heathenry. Both of us do. Lo being a Lokedian, and she'll go more into detail on that later, but we're going to do the broad of paganism, what the different types are, and then we'll get into a little bit of talking about how to find one's path, how to find clans that are out there, and then some differences between paganism and the Abrahamic religions. And then we'll talk about our upcoming holiday of Yule a little, and we'll be it. So it should be 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how much back and forth we have. And we'll just get into it. So, Lo, if I was to ask you what is paganism, what would you describe it as?
Ooh, paganism. I would say anything other than your Abrahamic religions. You know, you've got your Christianity, Islam, all that, polytheistic views, if I can word that correctly. I find it's more, at least with me, I find it a lot more like nature-based. That's where I feel the most connected, is out when I'm doing my walks, meditating, just really trying to connect with, my deity and my ancestors. So that's how I define it.
Exactly. And paganism is that. It is the Webster's dictionary defines paganism as spiritual belief or practice other than those of Judaism, Islam, and especially Christianity, which are the Abrahamic religions. So, such as anything that is a spiritual beliefs and practices of the ancient polytheistic religions, and the beliefs and practices of contemporary religions and spiritual movements based on ancient paganism. So anything that is of the old ways, it's not just
pre-Christianity,
a small sect. It is a huge, yeah. I mean, there is crossover between the two, and ton of it, and we could go all day about what came from here and there and is now here and there.
Oh yeah.
And that's not really what this one's about. But what we're talking about is on a whole, and then within that umbrella of paganism. So pretty much you have the Jewish, the Islamic, and the Christians. They're here. Everything else is basically under the umbrella of paganism. To include your Buddhists, to include the Indian Hindu religion. That is paganism. It's just mainstream paganism compared to Wiccan, which is getting more mainstream, but as you go through. And then you have the Celtic religion. A lot of people call it Druids. You're only a Druid if you've gone through and learned to become a Druid, but the Celtic religion. You have the Slavics and the Native Americans. They still still worship the old ways and the old gods. Some of them do. Now, Christianity and Abrahamic religions did push through and cleared a lot of people of their ancestral beliefs, but it's coming back. So, within...
It's really nice to see it coming back, too, honestly. I mean, it's just, for me, it's seeing it all come back. It's like we're all getting back to our roots, That's just how it feels.
Exactly, bro.
For me, and it's an amazing feeling, seeing it all happen all over the world.
Exactly. It's not that it's coming back. It's never left. It never went anywhere. Here comes Jen with the cat. Anyway, it never went anywhere. It's still been there.
Viking talk, it just makes sense.
My Viking cat, my main king kitten. So it never went anywhere. It's still always been there. It just went into the shadows. And especially in the Celtic, England came over to Ireland and then they squashed it. And St. Patrick, who was a slave of the Celtics, came through and used their religion to wipe them out. But they still practiced in secret. The people of the North, they did that too. When a lot of their kings became Christianized, they still practiced in secret. And we are now leaving that shadow. It's always been that, ooh, those are the pagans over there. They've been there. We have practitioners that have been doing this their entire lives and generations. But we're starting to come from the shadows. And that I love it. It's mainstream media has been the biggest influence of pushing us out of the shadows because
Yeah.
I mean, they've been making these shows. I get a lot of people don't like the show Vikings. It was a good show. It is not accurate across the board, but a good show. But it got people to think.
It's a good story.
Okay. And then the video game. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the video games of Valhalla, and those things are causing people to think about their ancestors.
You know, it's interesting you say that because, you know, I'm one of those people that, you know, a lot of people look down on for, you know, being huge into Marvel. And, you know, as I was learning more about, you know, like the characters of Thor and Loki and all them, I was like, oh, you know, that's cool. You know, the character, cool. I didn't know it was an actual thing. I was raised in a Christian household. Both my parents are pastors. And so when I heard about, you know, the different pantheons, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then one day I did a DNA test and come to find out I'm Norwegian and Icelandic. And I was like, all right, I want to look more into this. And that's when I found, you know, the Norse pantheon. And I was like, wow, this is huge. This is pretty amazing. And that's when I felt called. Honestly, as weird as it sounds, that's how I, you know, found my beliefs.
Exactly. There's no right or wrong way to come to the gods. There's many of reasons somebody could one day stumble upon this podcast and this is what caused them to start looking more into it. I'd be ecstatic about it, but is it going to happen? Probably not. Someone's got to be looking
you never
for
know.
this to find this. But you never know. So it's interesting you bring up the Marvel. With you being a priestess of Loki,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think that comparison of the outrageous Loki in Marvel compared to the actual teachings? It's ready to go.
Let's do this. I have been waiting for this moment. So, as a character in the movie, I thought it was great. However, many, many differences. Tom Hiddleston did a great job portraying him. And however, I have, during some meditating and some conversation back and forth with Loki, I do find that he was appreciative that he was honored. He was appreciative of him as a character. However, the moments where he's known just solely as the god of chaos or the god of mischief, he was like, whoa, 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 what about, you know, all the other things that I've helped people with? I'm like, really, all the other things? And then he starts going down a list, of course. But he's more of, I would say, I think they took out a lot of his good attributes, a lot of the good qualities. I know a lot of people, a lot of Norse pagans going to be like, Loki, good, really? He has his moments. He does. But I think, yeah. But I think as a character, he was portrayed well. But you got to keep in mind, it's Hollywood. It's a movie. It's not going to be accurate. But I'm just appreciative that the writers and the creators did at least a little bit of research.
tiny bit.
Yeah, that's why I was
But
a little bit of research.
in that same aspect, I'm sure Thor caught an earful about Sif being just some floozy that runs around and is not his wife. So
Oh, you know it.
he got in the portrayal of that. But so, and that's the thing. People come to paganism from all walks of life. There's people that find out that the Egyptian gods are what calls to them. People have found American Gods, both the book and the TV show, has been an amazing entrance for a lot of people. They go, hey, I didn't know these gods exist. I didn't know Wednesday was Odin's day. It's one of those, I didn't know this. And then they go do some more research in it. They get some books and then they go, okay, maybe I am pagan. And it's
right, like my
you dip their
morals.
toes in and
Yeah, you got to see, which way your morals line up with. And like you were saying, you just got to dip your toes in, just kind of see what it's about, and then hey, if it's not for you, it's not for you. It's not for everybody.
right? We're not beating down your door telling you, hey, you're going to be pagan. No, you don't want to be? Cool, go do you.
Exactly.
And so you have, we have an umbrella of paganism. Within that, you have the Germanic heathenry, Celtics, the Slavs, the Native Americans, the Egyptians, the Greco-Roman, which is the Greeks and the Romans, because they're basically the same thing. The Romans stole it from the Greeks, and
sounds familiar.
Which kind of leads to Romans stealing other things from other religions, and then the most famous, in my opinion, most famous of all pagans, the Wiccans. Everybody knows Wiccans. They have been out of the closet the longest. They're the ones that have been out front and led the charge of going, you know what? I'm opening a store. What you going to do about it? And
right,
that's where a lot of people first dip that toe in, because there's a lot of Christian witches out there. The green witch and the kitchen witch, and it's like,
something
okay,
else. Yeah. Oh man. So
on Sunday you're not a witch, but Monday through Saturday, hey, we need to go brew something. Yeah.
Right? Oh my goodness. Like I'm not bashing them because I don't know much about it personally, and I'm open to learning. But when I hear people say they're a Christian witch, I'm curious on how does that work?
Right.
Coming from somebody who has a lifetime of Christianity, in the Bible it states no against witchcraft and everything, and I'm like, how are you going to balance worshiping the Christian God and doing witchcraft? So I'm curious on how that works.
Right. Now, see, on that same flip side, the worshippers of Satanism falls into Christianity a lot of times. It's still considered Christianity. It's like the flip side of it. So they're not so much in the pagan. That, from what I understand, if I'm wrong, you come at me in the comments, tell me I'm an idiot, and hey, we are Christian or pagan. Then cool, I'll call you pagan. From what I understand, you're the flip side because you still believe
of that coin,
in the existence of Yahweh or God and Jesus. Yeah, you're just the backside of the same coin. That's like saying, I'm Odinist and I don't believe in Loki. Huh? Or I'm Loki.
I don't know how that would work.
I don't believe in Odin.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm like, that doesn't work.
But, so we are both of the Germanic heathen side of that. So under that umbrella, we have the Odinists, we have the Asatru, we have those that worship and follow the Jotun. It's out there. People do it. There's people that follow the Banya. And then we have like Priestess Lo here, the Lokians. So take a couple minutes and kind of give how that differs from the normal heathen.
Well, the way I have experienced it, I can't speak for anybody else, but at least for me, it was like I've always had an issue with personal boundaries. And that's always been a problem of mine, whether it's like in my professional life, personal life, I always kept to myself. I never let anybody in. And I knew that it was going to end up causing harm later down the road, you know. But the way I started with becoming Lokian was after doing my research, after figuring out where certain morals lie, like I mentioned before, and the one that came blasting through the wall like the Kool-Aid man was Loki. And the way that came about was a friend of mine was telling me, she goes, hey, I know you love Marvel and everything and that you're really into his character. Let me tell you about this guy. And I was like, okay. And so that's when I started doing my research. But I was like, you know what? If this is real, if you're real, I want to see you. I did that for 3 days. Right. Tested him every night before going to bed. And then one night, I say, all right, Loki, if you're real, I'm not going to ask again. I closed my eyes, and as much as I'm looking at you right now, he popped up. I have a drawing on my phone I took the next morning. I can even pull it up and show you. But it was his fluffy red hair, rims in his hair, horns coming out of the side of his head, and this face paint and big old goofy smile. And as fast as he popped up, he said, I'm here, and then disappeared. And I was like, holy crap. Wasn't quite the language I used, but anyway. So
a little bit
when that happened, I was, yeah. When that happened, I was like, all right, this is real. This is real. And so with being Lokian, he's like that teacher or that big brother, I guess, is the way I would put it, that I never had. He would talk to me about, you know, bringing up stuff from my past that I never dealt with. And he was like, hey, we need to work on this, otherwise you can't move forward. And I was like, I don't want to work on this, though. That's why I've suppressed it for so long. But once I started doing that shadow work and getting through it, I realized just how broken at the time I was and how I was able to move forward and move past it later on. It was like going to therapy, honestly. Writing things out, writing in my journal, having these shadow prompts that he would provide for me. And it was just amazing how well we work together. I've got my altar set up and everything, and I give my offerings, and we have conversations almost daily. But it's so interesting to see the way that he has his serious side, but yet he also has his playful side. Like, I would go to leave something on my altar. I'd put it there. I know exactly where I put it. I would come back later to grab something off the altar and it's gone. And I'm like, okay, I know I just put this right here. Where'd it go? And then I would go to the other room and come back and it was back there again. And so it was like, he plays little things like that. And I remember one day, go ahead, sorry.
It's interesting you refer to him as the big brother for you. To me, I see Loki and it's just like the mischievous child. He's moving things, and he's blamed constantly in our house because he is invited into our house. My child works with Loki. That is the god he is attached to. That is the god that's advising him. And it's like, okay, I just had this sitting on this table. Loki, what did you do with it? And if something goes, Loki, I'm like Thor in that way. If something goes wrong, first thought is Loki, what did you do? And if you didn't do it, you know who did.
Exactly.
And then it shows back up.
Yeah. I know that happens all the time. Like, for instance, I was looking for my belt, and he has this one spot in my room that he loves to hide things. And it's a place that I would never put something. But if it's missing, I'm going to go check that one spot. And if it's there, I knew it was him. And it's like in the back corner of my closet or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, I just had this yesterday. Why would it be back there? But anyway, working with him, I've found it to be exciting. I found it to be very enlightening. And just because I work with, as of right now, very challenging. Just because I work with just him right now doesn't mean that I'm not going to work with any of his children, Pagan or Angraboda, any of those. It doesn't mean that I'm off completely from working with them. It's just that at this moment, he is my only one that I work with. But being Lokian, we tend to stick more with that family, if that makes sense.
So more of working with Loki, his children, his wives, his mistresses. Kind of like, so how Odinists will work with exclusively Odin. And they may work with Thor and Bold or some, because that's the family. Whereas the broader heathen community will work with all the gods. So work from A to Z and everybody in between. And then I wish I knew somebody that worked with the Odins, because I really want to know what the thought process of working with giants is. Like, you want to get squished?
But yeah, so I find it very, it's opening, it's eye-opening. It's very eye-opening because he brings forth that part that you've suppressed for so long, and he helps you work with boundaries. And the thing with him is, there are moments of chaos, but he's putting you in that chaos for you to learn your boundaries, for you to learn to stand up for yourself.
Right. We wouldn't have some of the things that we have without Loki's chaos. We wouldn't have Mjolnir. Wouldn't exist. It would have never been made. The Norse gods probably would have been destroyed by the Jotuns, because Thor couldn't do it all on his own. He needed that additional hammer to really be able to defeat the Jotuns and protect Midgard and Asgard. And we wouldn't have the wall that surrounds Asgard without Loki, and Odin wouldn't have his horse without Loki being, what Loki is.
The
being a mother.
He is. But it's
they are. I would assume Loki is a they.
I know that many people do, refer to Loki as they, refer to Loki as him. I think it all depends on where they are in life and where or how Loki presents Loki to them.
Right. Yeah, the funniest thing I've ever ran into was I ran into a person that was heathen, and through conversation found out they were that 1% of the heathens that give the rest of us a bad name. But they're like, oh, I don't like those trans people. I'm like, you realize we have trans gods. We have a god that goes back and forth whenever he wants. I mean, he turned into a beautiful woman to take Thor to the wedding.
I was just going to say,
he became a female horse. He could have been a male horse. So how can you be transphobic and heathen? They don't go together.
No, they don't. And it's really sad that we have those individuals.
Like I said, the 1%. They're the 1%. We have most of us you'll run into within the pagan community are very open, are very loving to each other, loving to others. We may pick on Christians when, they start picking on us. but we won't go out to pick the fight most of the time. Now, sometimes it's fun if they've already started giving you crap, and it's like, all right, cool, you've opened the door, we going at it. But for the most part, hey, you do you, I do me. We can live perfectly fine. I know pagans that are married to Christians, and they go fine. Mostly because a lot of the Christian traditions coincide and line up with pagan traditions. So they're like, yeah, cool. Yeah. But
right.
You get into that. And so if I was to say, what information would you get? What source would you go to find information on any religion and on any pagan religion? What would you use?
Any pagan religion. Well, I would always go to the Eddas for sure. That's just my first one I could think of. Right. I do have on my Kindle. Let me pull it up. Now, remind you.
I'm trying to get you to say a term.
To say a term?
Yeah.
I can't do
so
magic.
The term I'm trying to get her to say is you would go for the broader mythology. So you would go look at the Egyptian mythology, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is I wanted to bring up Webster's definition, because I want you to learn something when you leave our podcast. I want some new knowledge. So Webster defines mythology as a collection of myths, especially one belonging to a particular religious or cultural tradition, as such as Christian mythology and the Judaism mythologies. They're still mythologies. Just no one calls them that. Everybody goes and says, oh, the Bible. Well, the Bible is just a mythology. It's a collection of myths. Because you can't prove, without a shadow of doubt, any of that. And you take on belief that that's what it is. So we take our Norse mythology, because I've gotten people that go, you can't read that Norse mythology book and know what you're talking about. Yeah, I can. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
it's exactly what the Bible is, the Quran. They're a collection of myths and stories that relate to a certain religion. It's a mythology. And so people go out there and they go, the same as you. I'm going to read the Poe's Edda, and I'm going to read the sagas. Yeah. We simplify those into books called mythology. And it's the same stuff, just wrote a little easier to read. Because sometimes some of the sagas are hard to read.
Oh, and my goodness.
A translation thing. There's some that are.
It's like I remember some of my reading. Oh my gosh, I would be sitting there and I had to read the same sentence like 4 times. I'd be like, okay, I see words. I recognize some of those words. However, when those words get put together, it's just not there for me. So it just took some time to actually find a translation. I was like, okay, now I get it. But yeah.
Sometimes that's how it is. It just, you got issues with the translation, and it becomes hard to read and hard to understand. All right, so we'll move on from that and our little spill about mythology, because I want to get that out. That just because it says mythology doesn't mean it's not a good book to read. Read it.
Right.
Absorb of it. Odin wanted all knowledge. I guarantee you, at time Odin has came to this earth, he has walked over and read the Bible, read the Quran, because he wants the knowledge, every bit of it.
Exactly.
It may not follow his religion, but he's gonna want that knowledge. So any knowledge that's there, he's going to want it. That's what he sacrificed eye for. He hung in the tree because of knowledge. A lot of the stuff that Odin got into was due to the seeking of knowledge. So to
Even
believe
going as
that,
far as,
oh,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but even going as far as straddling that,
no, no,
fence line of life and death, just to gain the wisdom of the runes. And it's just,
exactly.
that's how far he will go for knowledge.
Yes. So the idea of banned books and heathen groups banning a book just solely on the fact that it was wrote by a 1% group and saying, we're not going to utilize this knowledge because they used it. Hold on. There's good knowledge in this. You
Oh,
take
yeah.
that nasty out, and what you're left with is knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way we should be living our life. Okay. It's a good pathway. We'll take this crap out and
Right.
respect everybody. But
Take the bias out.
it's still knowledge. Exactly. Take that bias crap, throw it away. But some of the stuff in there is still knowledge. It's still something that should not be lost to time. And that's one of the things is a lot of stuff was lost to time because it was orally told. And then someone went, we don't need to know that no more. Or,
I know.
that
It's
group
so
over there
sad.
find that as the... Exactly. Sad. That group over there used this, so we can't use it. The hell you say?
Right. No, to me, that's just
what?
ignorance.
Exactly. Because guess what? That 1% group over there, they're using the have them all. They're using the Posetta.
Mm-hmm.
They're using the mythology, the runes. You gonna stop using that because they use it? No. But
You're going to find yourself using a very little tiny bit of, yeah. If you're going to throw away all that, you're going to find yourself using that much of what's available.
The main thing that I hear a lot of times is the 9 noble virtues. I know groups that are very inclusive that's what they've used for the last 10 years, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, we're not going to use this no more because they used it and they created it. It still doesn't say anything along those lines. They're guidelines. They're not commandments. They're just guidelines, the way you should be living your life. And to throw something you've been using away for years, that knowledge, because somebody that is being bigoted and racist or sexist is using it. It's just ridiculous. Because I'm not going to throw my rune set away because they walk down the road with a flag that has GEBO on it or whichever. Choose a freaking rune.
Whichever.
I'm not going to. And I mean, the little mean guy, he used a lot of Norse stuff, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But that's because he was an occultist. And that's an old term word for pagan.
Yeah.
He believed in some old stuff. That's all it relates to.
Mm-hmm. And when people get that mindset, they get so narrow-minded.
In the chat.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We have a member that's watching, but not using the chat. She's sending me messages.
Oh, come on.
Chat. Use the chat.
Use the chat.
Anyway, yes. So that throwing away knowledge is mind-boggling to me.
Mm-hmm. Because you never know what you're going to come up against.
Chat over on the side. Oh, she's probably on her phone. That's why. Yep. On the phone, it's not there. If you're on a computer, you usually have to. All right. So we'll move on. how does one find a path? So you kind of hit on this
Ooh.
earlier, and I want
Mhm.
to. How does one go about starting that path? In your opinion, what if you ever met somebody and they said, "I'm thinking about being pagan"? Well, obviously they've already took the first step to thinking about it, but where do you send them
Right. They're
from there?
contemplating.
How do you go on?
Wow. Well, I mean, it could either come like a soft voice in the back of your head, or it can come like a 2x4 to the chest. So
Yeah.
that's a tough one because if they're contemplating it, I would ask them questions along the lines of, all right, what are you feeling drawn to? What are the, what are some of the thoughts that you've been having lately? Um, in fact, I was talking to my brother about this yesterday because he's been straddling the line on Christianity and paganism. And he was like, I don't know. And so when I was talking to him, I was like, so what's been going on in your head? What battle have you been fighting? And he told me a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. And I was like, all right, so let's figure this out. What have you been feeling like you've been called to, or what have you been, hearing? And he says, well, just be in the now. Focus on the now. I was like, okay, all right. And he goes, lately I've been seeing animals a lot, like certain animals. I'm like, oh, okay. And the other day he saw a murder of crows. And he's in an area that doesn't get a lot of crows. I was like, all right. So what did you think of that? Did you think it was just, you passing some birds, or did you find it to be something more? So he started looking for signs. And then he did research on what those signs mean. And since yesterday, he texted me later and he goes, okay, I think I know which path I need to take, because he was doing some major soul searching. And I think that's the main basis, is you got to do some soul searching.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to do that soul searching. Finding the right pagan path is what calls to you. To him,
Mm-hmm.
so when you're telling someone, are you more biased to the Germanic heathen side of the house, telling them the more of the these are the signs you should be looking for or pulling out of, or do you just listen to what they're seeing and going,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to me that doesn't sound Germanic, that doesn't sound heathen, that sounds more Egyptian, or that's
Mm-hmm.
or Wiccan. Go take
Mm-hmm.
these signs and go to your local metaphysical store and start talking to them. You're going to find someone
Yeah.
from there may be 5 people in that store, and maybe 2 of them are the same pagan religion. They're mostly Wiccan, but you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
run into the Celtics, you're gonna run into the Slavs, the Germanic heathens, maybe run into a Greco-Roman, or a Egyptian from time to time, depending on the size of your city.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm in a small town.
You never know.
I don't know how many I run into, but I went to one yesterday and I absolutely loved it. It was a great store. I'm so glad I finally found it. It's hidden,
Oh, I'm looking
but
forward to it.
yes. So when you come out for Yule, we'll have to go. We'll have to take a trip and go check that out, because they have everything I've been needing. I've been having to drive either an hour away to get my ritual items, or just kind of ordering them from X.com type stuff.
Right.
But you got to look for the signs. You see the signs, and then you research the signs. I started my path
Mm-hmm.
down the Celtic path, and that's the way I went for a while. And then, like you said, sometimes it settles, sometimes it's a 2x4 to the back of the head, and that's kind of what I got, was a smack in the back of the head, and it was Odin going, "Hey, look here, this is the path you need to be on. You're going parallel with it, just over here, all right? And by the way, this is Tear. This is who you're working with." And like, all right, cool.
Just so you know, here you go.
Right? And when I was going down my Celtic path, my wife was going down the Norse path, and we were going together, learning the different ways. And she, hey, and she would tell me stuff, and I'm, interesting. I could see the similarities, and then it was just like a back in the head, like, hey, stupid, you're on the wrong side. Jump over here. And that's my personal.
Right.
Others could be going down the Norse path and get smacked in the head by Dagda and his club. Hopefully, it's the side that gives life, not takes life. You should be on the Celtic, or Ra is, slapping you with a Ra has wings, right? Or Ra slapping you with a wing.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. So the Egyptian, I know, and that's sad. All right, the Romans, the Greeks, the Egyptians, their mythologies were wrote, so we know what their gods were. We know, it's all wrote down.
Yeah.
Then you come over and you hit the northern pagans, the Slavics, the Germanic heathens, and the Celtics. The stuff wasn't wrote; it was all oral, because we would just tell stories. And
we've
plus,
lost a lot of it because of that.
Wasn't the best. Could you imagine having to write down like Thor's wedding in runes?
Oh
No.
my god!
Carving it into a stone,
right?
They didn't write within it; they carved.
No, they carved everything.
That's a long story. Yeah,
like, man. Okay, well,
or the whole Ragnarok.
2 months. Call it good.
Yeah. All right, Bjorn, you're gonna write Thor's wedding. Afa's son, you're gonna write Ragnarok, and Thor's son,
Exactly.
you're writing the story of the creation. It's like, oh god, no. Or even in the Celtics,
slip food under the door, call it good.
I couldn't imagine. No, but the Egyptians did the same thing.
Yeah.
They wrote in hieroglyphs, but it's like they had slaves, so it was like, right, I quote it because there's debate
right.
on if they were slaves or if they were not well paid,
paying a debt, or
I'm thinking more.
Yeah.
They didn't pay them quite as well because they were. But one day maybe we could have an Egyptian person on here that knows all this stuff and historian.
That would be really neat. I would like
give
to
us
learn
all
more
the
about
Egyptian
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
See, I would too. And just like how we have our special guest of tonight, Miss Lo here, I'm open if we have someone that is out there that is a more of an expert in Egyptian or Egyptology. Hey, shoot me a message. Well, glad to have you on. I mean, like I said, knowledge. We're searching for knowledge always.
Oh, yeah. And when you stop learning, that's when things get scary.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The other day I picked up a book, and it's a new book that I haven't seen before, but it's an introductory book. And I picked it up because when I have newer people going down the path, I want my library to be filled with books for them too. But I'm still going to read it because there may be something in there that is different from the way I learned it, and I want to know all the ways of things. So, but I'm not going to give a book to someone before I've read it. And that's the last thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to go and hand my baby pagan a book and go, here, read this. I've never read it, but it says it's a new book. I'm going to read it first. And I just barely started it, but those going in and out on me.
Oh, sorry, I'm out in my trailer. Saying, not giving it to somebody. You never know. It could be given. It could be like.
Try turning your video off, Lo. That may help.
Does this help at all?
All right.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
Is it working?
well, technical difficulties below. She's having sound difficulties, it seems like. But let's see. Maybe we'll be able to get her back here in a minute. Yeah, she's popping. You're popping in and out, love. Sounds like a typewriter.
That cool?
But so we didn't get to everything we were going to get to tonight. Unfortunately, it's just internet and time constraints. But let's see. Got a message. All right. I will continue on for a minute, Lo. Try logging off and coming back in, see if that helps.
I'll try.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we'll see if Lo's able to come back in and finish up with us. But so we talked about past. We kind of get into where to get to know more like-minded pagans, and one of the best ways, like I said, is a metaphysical shop. Find you a spiritual shop, not a Christian spiritual shop, but the pagan shops that are around. Find them, go talk to them. Generally, they have connections within the heathen world, within the Celtic world, within the Wiccan world, within the whatever world. Insert paganism here. And they are the ones that are the connection because everybody goes to them. If they don't have one, they'll talk to someone else and they'll find that connection. They're there. And that, in my experience, that's the best. You find those shops. Sometimes they're hard to find. You can usually find them on Google. Word of mouth is easier to spread, but go find one. Talk to them. See what they can help with. They can help you on the path. They can get you the things you need to start going down that path. So pagans versus Abrahamic religions. I hope we've cleared a little bit of that. The differences being your Abrahamics are your Christians, your Jewish, and your Islams. Those are the Abrahamic religions, and pretty much they've grouped everybody else as being pagan. And those are just following old gods. They're following gods that predate them, that predate the movement of Christianity across Europe and across the Americas. So pagans are more natural. By that I mean they go out and they do things outside, and not so much in a building. They go and meditate by a tree. They have their religious circles or their religious gatherings outside. The iconic image for Wiccan is dancing around the fire, which is not necessarily the thing that Wiccans are going to do. They're not going to constantly be dancing around a fire, but that is the iconic image, and that is more of I think was supposed to be a Christian bad thing. Oh, this evil person dancing around the fire, naked around the fire or whatever. To me, I'm like, hey, cool. Where's the fire? I want to dance. And that's a lot of pagans were. They would have their ceremonies, and then they would have a huge fire and celebrate together. And dancing is the way to celebrate. We do it today. We want to celebrate. We go to a bar, right? And at that bar, we dance. We have a good time. We'll drink mead, dance around the fire, have a good time. That's just kind of what we do. Whereas the Abrahamic religions are more structured. We're going to go into the building. We're going to pray. We're going to read verses from the Bible. We're doing this. We're doing that. And it's very structured. This is the way we do it. Or pagan is, this is the way it's done. Go forth and do it how you want to do it. Celebrate the gods how you want to celebrate. Instead of, this is how you're going to do it. This is how. Oh, Lo's back. Hopefully her sound works. No sound. All right. She'll jump in when she can. I'm just talking the pagan, and she can't hear me. She just sees the lips moving, but there are words coming out. Nod and wave, guys. Nod and wave. So pagans are more free. This is how we're going to do it, but do what calls to you. What's in your heart as to how to do it, instead of go here, kneel here, do this, do that. And I think that's what a lot of people find freeing about paganism, is the fact that they don't have to do all that. I got Lo's muted. Maybe if I unmute her. Let's see. Can I hear you now? She can't hear me. No. Yes. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. Oh, whatever.
Yes, I can hear you.
Whatever. Hey, I can hear me on you now.
Oh, God.
All right. I was just talking the difference between paganism and being distracted by my voice. Paganism and Abrahamic religions. I should put you in my ear so you don't hear yourself.
Oh, my goodness.
Technology, not the strong part of pagans.
My God. Okay, how about now?
How about now?
Sweet.
I didn't hear myself. All right.
Actually back in the earphone.
So there's a delay, as you've heard, between my talking and her getting it, and that's the problem with being spread apart. I'm in southern Arizona, where she is in southern California. Middle California? Somewhere in California.
Central, yeah.
So technology. Yeah, technology is great. Technology is also a pain in the butt, and Loki loves technology to cause mischief.
Oh, yes. He goes, hey, you're talking about me. I'm cool with that. I'm going to mess around with you.
All right, so I kind of hit on the structural of where pagans are less structural as the Abrahamic religions. Do you have anything to add, or you want to go ahead and move on to the next little bit?
Well, I don't know exactly what all you've covered, but the thing with paganism is it's your own personal path. I mean, it's not like you're going to go to church every Sunday, you're going to kneel, do whatever, and no, it's all about you and your progression, your own path, your own learning. It's not so much, this is how it's done by the book. And that's why I love it so much. It's so personalized.
Exactly. I love the personal aspect of it, and it's not rigid. It's very bendy. You can do it how you feel you should do it. So we'll move on. We're going to quickly, we'll talk about the fact of our upcoming holiday. So the next major holiday coming up is Yule. Hopefully, while Lo is here, I can maybe do another podcast then, if we can get Randolph on it.
Let's do it.
And then we'll have at least me and Lo here to talk.
And I will be here the whole time.
And it won't have the technology. But Lo is a member of my clan. So she is coming to my circle here in Arizona, along with other clan members that are coming in, which is super exciting for me. Hopefully I have some more people from within the area. I have some clan members coming, but hopefully I can get some people that go out to the metaphysical shops here in town, see the flyer. Hopefully they can come, because it'll be a great time. So if you are at home and you do not have a circle to go to, some of the things you can do for Yule, you can do on your own. You can praise Odin on your own. You can go find books that tell you a ritual to do. Little short rituals. And do what calls to you. If it is going out and you're going to go to a tree and yell at the tree and get all your anger out so you can start fresh from Yule, hey, do it. I
Call
mean,
me out, why don't you?
the sprouts
Okay.
that live in the tree might not be happy. You might piss off the sprouts, but yeah, whatever.
Right. Oh yeah. No, it's Yule is amazing. It's so much fun. There's food, drink, celebration, getting ready for
If you have a clan to get into.
If you have a clan with. If you don't, like last year, I also celebrated at home, and it was very much personalized for how I felt connected. So I actually strung up popcorn and I put it outside for the birds. And, I put intention in with it, and it was great, just kind of me spending time with nature.
Exactly. That's all it requires. Go be out in nature. Go renew the year. Because Yule is the change from winter. I mean, it's midwinter. So it's a time that they would all come together for the winter solstice, the longest day of the year, or longest night of the year. And they would gather together and celebrate together that they have made it through half the winter. They've made it almost there. This is the longest night. After this, sun starts coming back soon. So it's that celebration with others. Go forth. Find someone to celebrate. Go find, even go hanging out with your Christian friends. If they do a Christmas party, it's a Yule party. I mean, it's been out there for years. Yuletime cheer. They just, kind of,
Exactly.
Yeah. But a Yule log. Those are all traditions that came from the Norse pagans. The tree inside your house. It's not a Christmas tree. That's a Yule tree.
Exactly.
So, a lot of the Christian Christmas traditions have roots back in the Norse pagans. The first Santa was Odin. So a lot of the things you do already as a Christian or your Christian friends are doing, celebrate with them. When they pray, you pray. Just pray to your God. It doesn't hurt you to bow your head while they're saying grace. Say, Hail All Father. They say Amen, All Father. No one tells the difference. Even if you're, not out in the open about being pagan. It looks like you're saying Amen when you say All Father.
Exactly.
So there's things you can do. So go celebrate. Celebrate with everybody. I mean, I myself, I am looking forward to Yule when my clan's going to be almost everyone here, and the first time in a long time that I'm seeing Lo. I haven't seen her in almost a year.
A year?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Close to it. 7-8 months. So
Something like that.
It's been a year since I've seen some of the other members because they're in other states. Other members I see more regularly, but it's a time to celebrate. You are supposed to travel. Go see someone. If I wasn't hosting and I didn't have Lo and them coming, I'll go find another circle and go hang out with them for their guild celebration. I may even do that if they're doing it on a different day. Because I want to get out there and know my fellow pagans. All right. Enough on that. Enough on Yule. I'm sure.
But I love Yule so much.
Everyone does. Yule is like the big time. And that's because it's Odin's. Odin. Odin is very powerful, and he has compact Yule to be about him and this powerful day. And when you start invoking Odin into your circle and you're screaming, "Hell, Odin!" And then you have, last year I went to a friend of mine's Yule celebration, and my then 5-year-old, he had his little glass, and we put his non-alcoholic in it, and he goes, "Hell, Odin!" And it was just the most powerful thing. Yeah. And you know him. You know the little one. He was in every circle you were in. He was there.
Yeah.
And when he saw everyone else doing it without hesitation, he just, like it was something it was his first circle he'd ever seen. And it's like he'd been doing it his entire life. Just, hell,
But careful,
Odin.
that's also the same one that's going to ignore
everybody. Yes. But everyone was standing there and just this look of like, what did we just witness? No one expected him to do anything. He got his own glass. When everybody else was getting glass, he got a glass. I'm doing what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is what we're doing? All right, cool. And it came his time. He stuck his glass out like, I want some. It's like, oh, okay. And it was just the most powerful little, and it's like, all right.
My heart. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, yes. I love my little dudes, all 3 of them. And my boys are the greatest. Lo is looking forward to Yule for one particular reason of invoking my oldest into Lokian. So she gets to do that right with him, and he is so looking forward to it. It's gonna be something else, because me myself, I'm a broad heathen, so I do know a little of Loki, and I got a book to read more on Loki because I want to know more. But it's going to be such an honor to witness that, her as a priestess, and giving him his oath into that side of the house. It's
that is so amazing.
Can't wait.
Can't wait to watch you.
And so we're over our hour.
Okay.
Yes, we're definitely going to tear. So we're over our hour, so we'll end with Priestess Lo there giving us a fun pagan fact. Again, remember, if you have a fun pagan fact, record yourself, send it to me. I will put it in, and we'll have it in our next one. Email will be located below.
All right.
Or on the Linktree, if you have access to Linktree.
Yep. Okay, so
without further ado,
did you know? Here we go. Through his harsh laws against pagans, I'm going to butcher his name, so please forgive me. Theodosius also banned something we still have today, the Olympics. Yep, the Olympics were originally a pagan ritual. Because of this, Emperor Theodosius decided to suppress them. But he may not have been as successful as he thought. Some archaeologists believe that the games continued despite his ruling, supporting their claims with artifacts that just don't fit Theodosius' story.
Awesome. I love it. The whole fact that falls into that Greek-Roman I just don't know enough about. Yeah, hey, this is pagan, so we're going to get rid of it. Now everybody waits every 2 years for the next Olympics.
Right.
And you're celebrating it was a ritual. It was a giant ritual. All right. Yeah. I will end today's broadcast by thanking Lo for being here, talking with me, keeping the conversation going. And I appreciate it so much with Randolph not being able to make it. And I want to thank the band Denheim. I know I'm screwing it up. I'm sorry. A Pagan band. They make some great music. He allows his music to be used as long as you give him credit. So free use, and I absolutely adore the fact of it, because when we were looking for free use music of Pagan, it was hard to find. So our intro and outro song is provided by them, and the song is... Oh, good. I can't even read it. My screen's too small. Hold on.
Here, I can pull it up right here.
Framgrana. Yep, Framgrana.
Mm-hmm.
Just like every one of their songs, I cannot pronounce half of them. But great music. And follow the links below to their YouTube and check them out. Give them love. And if you are an aspiring pagan artist out there and you have music, always send us a link to it. And check it out. And we'll use it for a segment for our Fun Pagan Fact segment, or our intro or an outro. You want it, or we can just plug your music here and, hey, give this person a listen. Go follow them. Go listen to them. I want to help other pagans strive. So please, like, share, follow this. Send it out. We are now on every podcast I can think of. If there's ones out there we're not, let me know. I will get us on there. But just search Flyinggothar. Follow the links in the Linktree. And I got Pandora, Spotify. We're on the YouTube, where you got our Discord link there. Come join the Discord. Meet other pagans. You might have somebody right down the road that's in the Discord and you never knew it. So, shameless plugs, but yes, I'm going to plug our stuff. And logo contest is still going on. I think Priestess Lo did draw me something up. I asked for a little bit more flamboyant. It was just some lines.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
So hopefully she gets something to me soon. If she forgot. Yeah. If you have something, send it to us. Emails will be with everything else below in the link tree. Email us, comment. Just get my attention somehow. Our Randolphs, we will get with you. Send it to us and we'll add you. We'll pick our top 3 and we'll have a vote over on the Discord. Wherever we can put a vote, we'll put it. I think we can vote on YouTube. I'm not sure, but I think we can. So we'll put it there.
Okay.
I appreciate the listen. And always, thanks for listening to us. Hopefully Randolph will be able to make the next one. But Helza, have a good night. And our little dance.